I mean, it's not good for the industry as a whole. It gives us all bad reputations. So yeah, it's just I wish that people weren't like that and could be honest the entire process, but it's just not there. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Uh, so I'm joined here today with Kalen Whitney of Whitney Roofing and the inventor of HurriTarp, which we'll talk a little bit about here towards the end. I don't know. Thank you for shooting out. I know you were up in Chicago at the ABCs of Success show. I just happened to have the time reaching out to you, and you're like, "Yeah, I can shoot out."
Yeah.
Grace us with your presence. Appreciate it. Uh, I think that you have a fascinating story, of success with your roofing company. I'll go ahead and let you tell that story.
Okay. Well, I guess I could start from where I started from. I guess I got into construction right out of high school. I got into the IBW and became a journeyman electrician by trade. Did the whole 5-year apprenticeship program. Seen multi-billion-dollar projects for scrubber projects for coal burners. Been on nuclear power plants, natural gas pipelines. I did all the cell work on the wind farm. I've done hospitals, you name it. I've done it. And I topped out the program. Work was a little slow when I topped out in around 2013, 2014. A buddy of mine who owns a successful roofing company, he reached out and asked if I wanted to come kind of learn the industry. I was like, sure, I ain't got nothing to lose. So I kind of hopped in. A storm hit where my father-in-law was from, Greenup, Illinois, and I got in with the mayor, and he was knocking doors for me and getting jobs endorsed.
The mayor was knocking doors.
The mayor of Greenup was knocking doors for me and getting me jobs, and
That's pull right there.
yeah, talk about an invitation and breaking that ice, I guess. And so once you got the mayor's endorsement, I kind of fell in love with the whole process of helping people out and after a storm and really serving a community. Um, and then Tuscola, Illinois got hit with a larger hailstorm, and my wife's uncles were from there, and I had an invite over there and kind of got the bug and grew to be one of his top sales reps. I was his number one salesman, sold the biggest jobs that we'd ever produced at the time, and kind of fell in love with helping people out with that through that whole process, and was watching all his jobs as well, and just kind of built a relationship with the crews, and always had an entrepreneurial spirit. So I kind of had that itch anyways. I wanted to do something and saw the light and moved my family from Sullivan, Illinois to Effingham, Illinois to start the business. And we started our first season in 18. And in my furnace room, it was probably a 10-foot by 15-foot space where I just had a desk. And we did roughly, I remember my insurance lady asked me how much revenue I thought I was going to do. I told her, I don't know, like 125,000. And I ended up doing 1.25 million my first year in business. And then it's kind of doubled and doubled and doubled. And we've grown to be a pretty successful in our industry in our market. We always win roofing company of the year in our local market, and just kind of growing the brand, growing the belief behind what we do. Do what you say what you do, and just kind of serving our community and trying to give back as much as we can, and give back to the industry as well.
Yeah.
It's there's a lot of opportunity to be unscrupulous in this industry and do wrong by the consumer. We've always tried to do right from day one. I've always refused to do what's wrong. Try and stay on that path and keep growing that way.
How much of that mentality and that ethic do you think has contributed to, I mean, that's significant success in a relatively short amount of time? That's pretty atypical.
I'd say, I mean, we have a pretty unique way of marketing our business, and we kind of do a lot of different things to make ourselves stand out and donate our time for helping in the community and giving back and doing stuff like that. But I'd say a lot of that, people can read you. They know if you have right intentions, and carrying that through on most all things that we try and do with the business has really helped, I think, with the success. And I land people that are like minded, that have that align well with those morals and don't want to do wrong by anyone. And you get that gut feeling that you feel sick to your stomach if you even think you're doing something wrong. And we've hired well with people that are similar to that and that hold that to our standard.
That's a big thing we've talked about in previous episodes. Is I think that's an area where a lot of contractors struggle, is when it's time to start building the team. A lot of folks do bring on and they get screwed over ultimately, but we talk about setting and maintaining a standard and ensuring that anyone who's involved in your operation is aligned with that standard. So it sounds like that's been a big part of allowing you guys. I mean, we're talking, I hope you don't mind me sharing, but like you're at least flirting with 8 figures after 7 years in business. That's
Yeah.
And I should also say you're retail focused, right? So
Yeah.
I mean, you'll get that in the storm chasing environment, but to be local, to be retail oriented, and to have that rapid growth, you got to be doing something right.
Invite her to those places anyways. So like when we come, we already have an introduction. We have people that are wanting us to come to their house. So then from there, we leverage who we meet and how we kind of attack a market. So
Right. Well, clearly it's a good play for you because you had the mayor selling for you when you first got into it. So
yeah, no, that works. It works very well. Not everywhere you get that, but that was a good market. Yeah, I mean, whenever we come to a market, like one of my employees' wife was from Mount Sterling, Illinois. It had a huge storm that hit it, and she got us in with a lady that ran a daycare for years, and we came and assessed her roof, confirmed damage there, and then from that point, it spread like wildfire, and we still to this day are doing roofs up in that market because, and that was 4 years ago now. So we still like the local roofer that was from the community. He knew he was too busy, and he started telling people to call us because we were servicing his people the way he wanted to be serviced.
Yeah.
We come in and we become a household name, and we kind of hold ourselves to a standard. I mean, we're human; we're not perfect. Every install doesn't go.
Things go wrong in roofing,
And and you can't make every customer happy. That's one of the hardest struggles I think I struggle with because I want to make everyone happy. I want to do right by every single consumer that we have. But once you kind of realize that people just aren't going to be happy, they're just got that in their life. They're miserable. Once you get past that, and you can kind of come to terms with it, you kind of become at peace with it. But it still sucks whenever you run into that consumer that you just like, man, I want to please them, but they just don't want to be pleased.
Yeah, right. They'll take from your energy, and if you keep giving, you just deplete it.
And they start wanting you to do this or nickel and diamond, trying to get every little piece from you. It's like you finally got to cut the head off the horse and just be like, no, we're done. We've actually adjusted a lot. If a customer's giving us red flags, we just won't deal with them from the beginning. So my sales reps are being taught, like, hey, if they start giving you red flags and start asking for stuff before we've even done anything for them, like, just tell them to find someone else. Like, and I think that's another key to success is because like those customers will drain you. They'll take from your mental stability. They'll just, I don't know, whatever it is, it's toxic and it kind of spreads like wildfire. So trying to find how to weed through those has been, I think, one of the best things we've done and are moving forward with. Like they'll call me if the sales rep says that there's a flag. They'll talk me through what the scenario was. I'm like, then just tell them that they're not a good fit for us.
Right.
Just cancel the customer and move on. We don't want that. Like, not all money's good money. So that's another thing that we've really dialed in this last couple of years. Is there's just been some customers that just weren't fun. Getting past that has been good, and we're going more and more towards that direction of just canceling people.
Yeah, and it is nice when you get to that level where you can be choosy about who you're working with. I mean, obviously, when you're just starting out or when things are slow, you kind of got to take whatever you get. But definitely when that option is available, because it's going to save you time, which is going to allow you to focus your energy on more productive customers. And ultimately, it's chasing bad money, right? Because you're going to sink so much time and effort, the money you get out of it, and they're probably going to nickel and dime you. I've got a story about back when I was running production for the family company. We had a sales rep who he was doing all these trips back and forth this town, 45 minutes out. He's like, yeah, I got this guy, man. He's a real tough negotiator. And we weren't really in the loop on what exactly was being negotiated. So at some point, we found out like this guy has managed to get all premium upgrades. We were doing GF, so it was like timber tax, like premium snow country for no extra cost. And he was at the kitchen table with this guy on 3 or 4 different occasions trying to get the deal signed, and he would not budge. Eventually, he did. So it happened to be close to where I live, and so I went out there and I was like, I'm managing this project because this guy's definitely going to come asking for more. Sure enough, I'm there on the project that day. He's like, hey, by the way, that skylight up there, think you could just like swap that out for us real quick? It's like, if you sign contracts and we bid it out for you, we can do that. Long story short, to the point where we replaced all the bad plywood. We had like 4 sheets left. This guy was insisting. He's like, I want you to find a place to put that plywood because I paid for it. And I held firm. I was like, I'm not going to replace good plywood just for the sake of using the material. The man threw a literal tantrum. Like I had to talk to the wife the rest of the time. He went inside. I was like, okay, we don't chase these customers anymore, right? This is a 45-minute drive to get out to that person. We should have cut him loose probably after that first visit.
I've had instances like that, and actually with my wife's uncle. Yeah.
Oh, the family member?
Well, yeah,
No.
that's a whole. I won't even get on.
Okay, yeah, we won't make you go on record about that. But
That's yeah, he's not a very good person. Let's just leave it at that.
you know, we all got people like that in our network to a degree.
Yeah, but no, I mean, we got all kind of horror stories. You name it, you kind of start seeing them all, and see kind of get. If you stay in it too long, I tell anyone that's coming into the industry, like the sales in this roofing industry, I love it. Like, where else can you go and do what we do and have a lifestyle that we can attain relatively quick and easy, and not easy, but it's very
It's accessible.
it's awesome. If you want to get success in it, you can really learn and grow fast and really do some cool stuff. Like I tell them, if they roller coaster ride of dealing with sales in this industry with a sales rep, you got the peaks and the valleys can get really dark. Like you kind of get down the dumps, you get mild depression, and the customers can do that to you in some weird way. Like you get these struggles, and if you can't find your way out and find that light, it is a struggle. If you can't find where you can get that happy medium, and you let those negative customers feed into you, you can feel somewhat responsible for the things that go wrong. You want it to go perfect. And then the customers that berate you because you accidentally broke a hosta or a Japanese maple tree, had a twig break. It's like, I'm sorry, we didn't intentionally do that. We had the catch all, but we took it down, or we did this, and we try and do everything to mitigate Murphy's Law. And it just, you can't. So,
Law's the law.
yeah. And so I tell a guy, if he really wants to do it, you got to dive in. You got to be ready for that ride. And it's one hell of a ride, and it's worth it. But you got to know how to get past those struggles and how to cope with what you run into. And it's hard to explain really until you're in it. And really, I can see all my sales reps through the years, like how they've kind of grown and where they're at and when they get in those valleys. And it's kind of like, hey man, you're down there. Let's get you out of there. Let's climb out of that hole.
Let's find a win here.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to find that win, and it's knowing that and reading your guys and keeping them on the highs and try to mitigate the lows is it's time consuming and trouble.
For sure. Yeah, I think there is a point at which, especially as you become a bigger company, it does become about supporting the people just as much, if not more, than selling your own jobs or doing the day to day. It's a whole different skill set, though.
It is.
Yeah.
It really is. Managing people. Sometimes you're like, man,
How did I get into this?
I didn't sign up for this, but it's fun. I mean, everyone that's worked for my company, I feel like whether they stayed with me or whatever, through the time that they were with me, their lives have improved at some capacity, whether it be financially or just they've grown as a person. We've tried to stay true to that and help people through that. And you know what? Being a business owner, you go through your own struggles.
Absolutely.
And I mean, Paul Reed talks a lot of the addictions in this industry.
I thought about that when you said, folks hit that valley and they struggle to get out of it. That's a lot of times the way they turn.
You find coping mechanisms and things that are just not good for anyone, let alone just you don't have the right mindset. And like Paul's addressing that really well, I think, with roofers and recovery. So it's a cool thing that he's done. I sat in on one of his things and he was talking about that. And it's really relevant in our industry. So I'm trying to help guys through that.
And that's another area too where you inherit as an owner, you become the leader, and you actually have a lot of influence over. Because there are some owners, right, who will actually almost encourage that lifestyle or that source of stress relief, and your team might follow that.
It's relevant, or it's predominant in this industry. There are owners out there that cope with things in those same avenues, and that catches up eventually.
Yeah.
I mean,
this is an addiction.
Yeah.
So it's not judgment in any means, but it is one of those things. Like when you decide to grow a company, you take on a higher level of scrutiny, and you have to really hold yourself to a higher standard, because there are people who are looking at you. And when they hit those struggles, it's a different level of leadership to be able to help somebody out of that, as opposed to joining them in the rut.
I mean, I'll be honest. There was starting the business in 2018, there was a hurricane that hit out in Wilmington, North Carolina, and my sub crew that he went down for and worked for another contractor down in Florida during the winter months. And he had told the guy about me. The guy flew me out to Orlando and said, "Hey, can you start the storm in Wilmington?" I was like, "Sure." So I went out there. I'm actually allergic to alcohol. Like I break out in hot. Like I do, but I still, I enjoy a drink. but I had never been just sit there and drink. I would, hey, my friend's back from college, I'll have a few that weekend at the bar or what have you. But I go out to Wilmington, and I was out there by myself, and I was sitting in the shop doing paperwork and trying to do calls and stuff. And I'd have a 6-pack and I'd start drinking it, and then slowly carried on to the next year, and then found myself, drinking through the day, and finally I got home and I just saw just my beer fridge and where I had just too much beer in there. And I just flipped the switch and I stopped it. But it was like, okay, I got to stop this because this isn't me. And
Yeah.
so
Because it's gradual.
yeah.
Just like you said, and you walk in one day, you're like, whoa, this is how I'm living now. Yeah.
Luckily I was able to, I've never really had an addictive personality, but I was able to just like see that visually in my beer fridge and right in the garage. I'd sneak in like and put it, the 6-pack that was left over. I had one beer every time. I'd set it down in the fridge, and I kind of walked in, I opened the door, and I just saw a graveyard of that. And I was like, it's a problem.
Yeah.
So like I flipped it off. I remember the IRE, in 2019, I went to it, and I almost spent like $5,000 on extension cords because I had already been drinking once they started serving beer. I just was there drinking, and I almost like, I don't need $5,000 worth of extension cord.
Right.
Luckily, my rep was like, "Hey, don't do that." I was like, I didn't realize that's what I was doing. But yeah, that's not to get on that topic.
Because we could go on that topic. The way that the industry, it's not just company to company, but the way the industry kind of.
Yeah, at the IRE, I don't like that they almost harbor that. The booths offer beer, and it's like, come on. And it's almost like if you're not drinking, you're almost the outsider. It's like, I wish it was the other way around.
It's so true. I remember because I've done a booth. I think you did a booth, and when I'm planning the booth, people are telling me, "Well, you know what roofers like? You got to get beer and you got to get women." It's like, okay, I guess. I mean,
no, yeah, honestly, I was telling my wife that like the booths that you see everyone stopping at, they hire nice, beautiful women and have beer. It's like I get it, but it's like, can we not do it from a different standpoint and be
right.
I mean, you're not going to change that, but
No, it is what it is. It is unfortunate. I think. I don't know what would change it, honestly.
Yeah, I don't. Prohibition.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, no, it is how do you deal with your stress? Like I'm finding other ways. Like I do a cold plunge. I'm trying to get back into the gym and working out, and I coach my son's baseball team, and those are the things that I've started pouring the efforts that I've been doing in there and putting towards something more, wholesome and
productive and growth oriented. You're helping foster your kids' development, and you're being involved and present. And these are all things that are, especially like roofing, all the opportunity it provides. It's a stressful job.
Oh yeah,
and like we do look for escapes. There's no getting around it.
Trying to get white hair in my beard.
Yeah.
Anyone that wants to start their own company, like it's fun, but it's not.
Yeah.
You got to understand the stresses that you're signing yourself up for and be ready for it, because it could take a toll on you. It could, you come home and you got to have that way to decompress or whatever, and find different ways. You got to have a wife that will support you, and
It's a game changer. It really is.
through all the craziness. If she could see that like it's been a day, like she knows that I need a minute just to decompress, and I go to my bedroom, hang out, I just sit there for a second and put on a show on Netflix, and I watch one episode of How I Met Your Mother or something. And I come out, I'm good. But it's she knows.
Yeah.
There's times where it's like, hey, just give me a minute, I'll be good.
Mine is Sunny in Philadelphia on the college show, but that's my go-to when it's been a long day, long week. Just watch a couple episodes of that. Same episodes I've been watching for the last 10 years.
Oh yeah,
every single time, just as good.
Yep, absolutely. That's how I Met Your Mother is too. It's good stuff. Just stupid background noise.
All right.
Yeah.
So, okay. Well, as much as I respect the roofing grind and what you managed to accomplish there, believe it or not, that's not the reason why I reached out to invite you onto the show. I mean, it is definitely a big part. But what caught my attention was a video I came across where you were demoing an invention of yours, the HurriTarp. So we actually have one packaged up here behind us. We'll make sure to include a clip to a demo link so folks can see how it works. But why don't you tell us a little bit about what the HurriTarp is and how you came up with the idea?
Yeah. So the HurriTarp is a water-ballasted, self-weighted tarp that doesn't require any nails in most applications for it, to limit the exposure or need to cause unnecessary damage to a roof mitigation process. It kind of stems from the lack of options out there to do this, and prevents the people from being able to have an ability to cause unnecessary damage to a roof. The idea came from one of my sales reps, Jeff Barber, calls me up. A storm had hit, and there was another storm coming the next day, and he had 2 flat roofs to actually tarp. And he's like, "Man, I don't have much time. Can you come help?" I was like, "Absolutely." So I come there. He's like, "It's a barrel style EPDM roof, flat roof membrane." He's like, "How do we tarp this?" I was like, "Well, I don't know, because you can't put sandbags on there because they'll slide off. You can't put bricks on there because it'll slide off because it's sloped." And so I'm just kind of thinking about it. Luckily, it wasn't. The membrane was tore off enough to where we knew we could actually physically attach the tarp and still be fine, because we were replacing that section anyways. We ended up replacing the entire roof. But so on my way to pick up some heavy duty tarps and some plates and screws, I kind of came up with the idea at the stoplight on the way to Menards, and I was just like, "Man, there's got to be self-weighted tarp for this." And I started kind of doing some Google research at the stoplight and kind of looking for it, and I found the weighted tarps for the baseball mounds with the chains in them, which that wasn't feasible because I wanted something that it's not heavy to get to the roof. I want something you add the weight to, so that way you get on the way up the roof, it's light and manageable, and then you can get it to there safely, and then spread it out and put it in place where you're not struggling. So then doing some more research, Googling and stuff, I still couldn't find anything. So it kind of dawned on me. The main concept of this is that it's one trip up, one trip down if you do it right before you go up there. So obviously you go up first and assess the damage. But then once you know what you got to do, you can go down, get ready, load up your hose, hook it to the bag, put it on your back, and climb up the ladder, have 3 points of contact, and get on the roof safely. And you can see where you're walking. You're not having missteps on tiles. You're not foot falling on shingles, because if you're carrying a big old sandbag on your shoulder, you can't really comfortably look down. It's awkward. You carry it on one shoulder. You have one arm as you're climbing the ladder. That's unsafe. And then now you have a potential projectile on the roof as well.
Yeah.
You have all these problems with that, and it's, again, multiple trips up and downs. I kind of went through a couple different iterations and ideas, and I kind of landed on where I'm at right now, to where it's all self-contained. You fill up the bladder with the water up there. I made the base thicker to be protected from any potentials, imperfections in the roof. So obviously, you want to have a little bit of vision. Look at where you're spreading this out. If there is a nail sticking out, go ahead and nail it down.
Right.
Address any sharp objects. Cut it, lay it down, then put the silver in it out. Take a little precaution, but there will be some human intervention. But the base is thicker to help mitigate any imperfections in the roof substrate, to if there is potential opportunity for punctures. The top layer is a little thinner, just to cut down on the weight of the whole product, more user friendly. But it's about 42, 43 mils thick, which if you look up FEMA regulations for the tarp requirements, they range from 7 mils to 20 mils is what is regulated as a FEMA tarp.
Sure.
So I'm more than double the high end of what they call a hurricane tarp. So in terms of durability and thickness, more than double that. Plus adding the weight, the way that we did it with the water all the way around the perimeter and through the middle, it doesn't allow for the flutter. I mean, there was some thought into that.
Yeah, I like the grid design. Smart.
So the grid, you got weight throughout the whole thing dispersed, and empty, 32 pounds to carry up. And then whenever you fill it with water, it holds roughly 27 gallons. You fill up your bathtub with about 30 gallons of water, give or take. So it's about a bathtub full of water, but that converts to about 240 to 260 pounds, depending on how much you fill it up. But with this and with that application, the whole goal is to help give alternative methods of mitigating damage and actually providing a service to the consumer and not a disservice. Trying to stop the mentality of like, well, if I damage more, I get more. It puts a stop to it right away and gives it a solution to not allow that mentality. That's the beauty of it, I guess.
Yeah, I like that. I know we talked a little bit about that the first time we connected over the phone, and obviously we know that the insurance companies are not good actors by any means. But the reality is too, there are roofers out there who contribute to almost this tit for tat that's gotten us into the situation we're in, where it's just such an oppositional, like roofers against insurance, and each is fighting for every penny that's on the table. So I like your perspective because it acknowledges, like, all right, we have to do our due diligence too. We have to do right ourselves. And ultimately, it's the homeowner who's caught in the middle, or the policyholder, because it could be on the commercial side as well.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that there's that game, I guess, so to speak, and that back and forth, and us as an industry, we've kind of take, and we've now insurance is starting to reform and push back. Now everyone's getting scared, and it's like, okay, but what do you think was going to happen? You kept doing this, you kept causing damage, you kept digging your heels into the shingles or using quarters and all the tactics that is in the industry. It's real. Manufacture damage every day. This just kind of doesn't allow for that opportunity to even breed that kind of way of thinking. It stops it. It stops them even having the inclination or the idea of, oh, if I damage more of this roof, insurance is going to owe for more because it warranted mitigation, and this is what I deem necessary to mitigate the exposure. So now it's like, well, you had the opportunity to use a method of mitigating it that doesn't cause that damage,
Right.
and it stops that. Like, it doesn't allow for people to even think into that realm. Obviously, and it's not a one size fits all. I'm the first to say it. Like, it's not going to be for every application. It just isn't. But it's at least going in the right direction to stop the way of thinking and to give an alternative way of helping. The tile roofs in Florida, there's no good way to tarp those.
Right.
There just simply isn't. It's sandbags, blue tarps. You step in the field of the shingle, you crack the tile. Like, you can't see where you're walking. You're carrying up a sandbag. Like, and then those blue tarps hold up for 3 to 6 weeks, and then they're tethered and feathering away, flapping in the wind. And that's just, so then you shrink wrap. And if you shrink wrap, then that cost is exponential, but it's what was warranted. So now we had another alternative solution to go up there and fix the problem at bay and actually serve the customer. The customer's ultimately the one that's losing in all of this because their premiums are going up
100%.
and the insurance is reforming. They're doing away with policies for roofs because they're losing. I mean, it's a numbers game. They're truthfully losing money on covering roofs.
Yeah. When you go after that mitigation money, like, that's taking from somewhere else, right? Like, they know what they're taking home at the end of the day. They know they're willing to disperse.
Yes.
And yeah, we can challenge them. The lawsuits are going on. They have been exposed, but like, at the end of the day, they're in it to make the money that they need to make. I do think that there's something to be said for what it could mean. I think it's big picture. I do want to also emphasize, like, by no means do I feel bad for the insurance company because they're taking home a lot of free money.
No, I'm not empathizing for them.
Like you said, at the end of the day, it's homeowners are the ones losing because that means for the claim themselves, for the replacement, that's increased denials because we're getting a little greedy on the mitigation side, right? And again, insurance companies know, all right, if we're handing out more there, we're getting more restrictive over here.
It's a give and take, and finding that balance. No one's offered a solution that answers this problem. This is the first that I'm aware of something that's out there that is, so to speak, leveling the playing field. Shout out to Steve Patrick, but it really is. It's giving something that, okay, we all know that there's a problem and we're accepting it. Insurance is still going to pay for this product and pay a premium price because it's going to demand a higher price because now they know that if the roofer used this to mitigate the damage, they didn't cause any unnecessary damage to the roof. So they should be willing to pay a little bit more for this product because they know nothing is caused, no damage was caused through the process of mitigating it. So it's like, okay, it's a give and take. They used a higher price point tarp to do this, but they didn't cause any damage. Now we can get a real assessment of the damage that it was unaltered, like, because there's before photos before you put the tarp down. Take some before photos to hold yourself accountable. You put it in place. You can honestly say, I caused no damage.
Right.
You can look them in the eye and say, show me what I caused. Now they get an unaltered perspective of what the damage actually is and what they're assessing. And there's no human intervention there. We didn't cause any damage. You provided a solution to prevent any further exposure to storm damage. That's what you provided. They come out, they can just fold the tarp out of the way. You don't have to come out this time.
Right.
Because traditionally, we go out, we assess it, we tarp it. Then the adjuster comes and our photos aren't good enough. So they want you to tear your tarp up.
Right.
You have to tear the whole thing up and then they take their photos with their picture, and then you have to reapply a new tarp. So now you've done it twice, but guess what? Insurance only paying for one time. They're not paying for that second time that you mitigated. So they only allowed for one tarp mitigation, not the second. So this one, you save them time in the first application, then you save them the back end time in the second application. So you're really money ahead using this. It's safer for your guys. I mean, you still need to know what you're doing in navigating a roof at all times.
Yeah,
safety is key, but this is a quicker way to train someone to mitigate storm damage. You can have your carpenters that might not be the most competent on a roof, but you can teach them, hey, this is what you go, you assess it, you put it on there. Your sales reps can learn how to do it relatively quickly. I've had my wife do it. We videotaped her getting on the roof. She doesn't walk on roofs every day. She got up on the roof, she put it in place, and she filled it up. So like, it's relatively easy to figure out. Like, and it gives a solution to a problem that's out there, and it's safer, faster, and now the adjuster can show up on site. You don't have to remove the tarp. They can just fold it out of the way, take their photo, and just spread it back out. And it's done. Like, there's, again, you didn't have to retarp it. They just put it back in place. And so it saves you time, saves you exposure, saves you safety. The roofer's insurance should, honestly, they're the ones that are going to see a lot of safeties. It's safer for their installers to do it. Their exposure to unsafe practices is limited with this tarp. So, and plus, they're not exposed to the fraudulent activity because ultimately, I carry insurance for my company. If I get in a fraudulent case or something because the consumer's insurance thinks that what I did wasn't necessary, who do they come after? They come after my insurance. So now my insurance should be like, hey, we only want you to install this tarp. This is the only one we want you to actually be applying because we know that you're not causing any damage to the roof. Your guys are safer while they're doing it. So it's almost a no-brainer for the roofer's insurance company to say this is the one we want you using.
Yeah.
So it can get so granulated or granular to where you can look at it from all angles, where like it answers a lot of problems on.
There's benefits to a lot of parties. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of upside and very little downside to it.
Yeah.
You can try and poke holes in it in comments or whatever, and I'll review them, but show me a con.
Right.
Show me a real con that isn't just a made up one in your head.
Right.
It's a problem. Like, we need to fix it. And where does that start? It starts with someone doing something about it. So.
Yeah. And I love just the ingenuity of it, right? I think that it's something that we've just taken for granted. I remember growing up when I was a little kid running around, like, yeah, blue tarps. That's what's out there. I think we're about due for something a little different.
It's something that hasn't been innovated ever. Like, you don't think of innovations in the tarp industry. Maybe make it a little thicker or a tighter weave or something. Nothing's really changed.
Yeah.
It's like, well,
right for disruption.
Yeah. So I think it's something that it needs a little bit of a shakeup. And, honestly, blue tarps are ugly on a roof.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks tacky. You can still to this day look at aerial imagery of Naples, Florida, and still see blue tarps from satellite imagery. Man, that just looks ugly.
I remember flying in. It was for an IRE back in 2022, I believe, flying in New Orleans. And from the overhead on the plane, like looking down, you just see blue tarps as far as you can see.
And this would be a little more aesthetically pleasing on a roof. It would look like an eyesore from an aerial map. But, not only that, it's just, I don't know, it is changing something that's never been changed.
I love it. And I also just love the creativity to even think about it. So, we're called Roofilosophy. So we're all about talking about ideas and innovations. You met my dad a little bit ago, had his own invention that he took to market. I've got a product I'm putting to market. I don't know if it's just me, because I know a lot of roofers, but like, I get the sense that like people who get into roofing also tend to just have like kind of this innovative spirit to them. I don't know. What do you think about that? I mean, because you mentioned you actually have a couple of prototypes going on.
Yeah, I think it comes with the territory, but I mean, if you think of just construction in general, but also like if you look at the complexities of the roof system,
sure,
and understanding like how to solve problems, like just the nature of a roof and a dormer on a roof, or how to direct water out, and you got to have a creative way of thinking on that and where water flows. So I mean, it breeds a lot of ingenuity in that aspect, just understanding construction in general. And obviously with my electrical background and seeing things on a different perspective, like as a whole, I've always want to know why things work, how they work, what makes things tick, and just understand it from a granular level all the way up to what it is actually doing. And I think, yeah, there's a lot of intelligent people in the trades. What for whatever reason they got a bad rep for years, but it's not just convicts; it's good people.
Right, right.
There's highly intelligent people and trying to solve problems to everyday issues.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just finding something or a reason to or a way to make things easier and simpler. And there's always got to be a better way. Or we're looking at it and look at it big picture kind of stuff on a project. I don't know about you, but whenever I see I can already come to a house and I can already play out the best way to build that roof. I can play it out in my head from start to finish, where I would start, how I would address every issue, and what we're gonna do for every step of the way. And it's already built in my head.
Yeah.
I've done it. So it's like, so then you start finding other ways to kind of direct that energy.
Keep it fun. Yeah.
You got to find other ways to, I mean, drive and find ways to fix things.
Yeah.
Came up with other tools in the past too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Never got to this level.
Yeah. Well, it's impressive. I think if we ever get to a point as an industry, as a species, where we're not thinking about better ways to do things, we're all going to be in trouble. So you're keeping the ball moving from a human standpoint too. I've had the opportunity before we started recording. I got the full demo layout and backstory too. So I'm really impressed with what I'm seeing. I'm excited to see. I know you're working on continuous iterations, some newer things coming down the pipeline as well.
Yeah, and other offerings for the product to improve it, but also like right now, and I've told everyone that's bought in and really believed in the product, and like I'm the one you're talking to, like so everything that you see as a problem or you want addressed, I'll fix it. Like I know that it's nothing's perfect right out the gate. I mean, it's just the nature of the beast. So understand that whenever you do buy into it, my phone number is the one that you're going to have access to, and I'm taking every suggestion out possible, and I've tried to think of every angle that it could be the best thing that's out there. But you know, everything has room for improvement, and I will address that and take everything into consideration, fix it. If you see a flaw, tell me about it. If you have an issue with the tarp, please tell me why. What happened? Like, what's your scenario? But it's real time. It's me. Like,
Yeah.
like it's I'm who you will talk to about it. Like,
And I can tell you, like, when you have the opportunity to get in early and work with a founder, because there's passion behind it.
Yeah.
Right. At some point, you're going to be talking to a customer support rep, or you're going to be talking to an AI bot. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
And you're going to be sent to like 4 or 5 different phone numbers just to get any level of help. So when there's that opportunity to work with the person who's driving it, you gotta clap on it.
Yes, it's fun, and I'm learning. So I mean, I don't have all the answers to the whole process. Like I'm figuring it out. I'm throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks.
It's a whole new business, right?
Yeah, it is. And navigating sales tax, just something that simple that I didn't think about. But Illinois is a state of origin. So you get taxed at where it came from, where it originated from. And then there's state of destination. So you got that. And then you have some states that have no sales tax. Just simply navigating sales tax. It was something I didn't think about.
Yeah.
Hang on. How does that apply? Do you charge the sales tax? And who gets the money? And then you find out the thresholds and the revenue that you have to go to a certain state. And then you got to pay their sales tax. And it's just things like that I'm learning. I don't have the answers to that. I'm a roofing contractor and I'm now selling a product. So I'm learning the ins and outs on navigating distribution, the ins and outs on actually getting it manufactured and having it available, and navigating shipping and handling and receiving, and I've trucking.
Yeah.
Getting it shipped to this port and pricing other ports and getting it from here to there. It's all new to me, and warehousing it, and packaging it. It's a lot, but I'm doing it all. So we'll get it figured out.
For sure. I think too, going back to like why roofers tend to be innovators, we do kind of have just like a dive in spirit. Like a lot of folks who start roofing companies are just like diving in, let's figure it out.
It's not a problem till it's a problem.
Exactly. And so we can apply that same logic to product.
Activity breeds activity. And that's another one of my buddies owns Legacy Roofing.
Okay.
He always says that, and he takes a real dive in head first mentality. I'm like, dude, I'm more reserved. I have to like weigh out all my pros and cons before I make a decision. He just goes full blast and dives head first, and I'm kind of adopting a little bit of that with this, but I can't ever full send like he does.
Yeah.
It's Yeah.
You know, a little risk aversion's okay. You know, it's all right to have a little bit of caution,
Yeah,
but
activity breeds activity, and like what came first, the cart or the chicken or the egg?
yeah, right.
It's one of those things where I just got to get it out there. Now I'll figure out the problems. So
You talked earlier about, before we hopped on the recording, about ideas dying, right? And
mhm.
it is, sometimes it's the fear or the chase of perfection, maybe. It's like, oh, this has to be perfect before I reveal it to anybody. And going that way is what ultimately kills ideas, because it's never perfect. It
No.
never is.
Like, it just, if you think it's gonna be, then you're wrong. Like, and if you have an idea, anyone that's listening to this, if they have an idea and they're in that stage where they're fearful of it, just get it out there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, get it out there and figure out the problems as you go. And the consumers should understand. If they don't, then you don't want them as your consumer. Like, and same as with the customers, cancel them.
Mm-hmm.
You go, hey, this product ain't for you. Bye. But like, it's, if you can't get past that stage, and you're not going to go anywhere. So it's like, why? Yeah, don't let it die.
Sometimes the hardest part is getting started too.
I get an analysis paralysis, I call it, where I've done it with this. I explained it like whenever I did the interview with Dimitri,
Mm-hmm.
and showing it that was the first time like anyone else other than people in my company had seen it.
Really?
Yes. So like that interview with him, and thanks for doing that. But like, I explained it and I didn't know we were going to do it the way we did it. Like, he didn't tell me. I thought we were going to do something similar to this.
Sure.
But he's like, hey, we're going to do it like Shark Tank style. So I didn't have, like, what? And there's him and Patrick Carr just start asking me a bunch of questions. I'm like, dude, like, I'm not good on camera. I don't speak well. I'm like, geez.
They start grilling.
Oh yeah, and they just start going in on me, and I'm like, okay. So it was all just genuine, like how I answered, how it came out.
Yeah.
There was no scription, nothing. But anyway,
And that was really the first time you put it out there, was with Dimitri.
100%. No one else had seen it, and he calls me. He's like, hey man, we're gonna launch it this Sunday or the day of, like on Sunday. He calls me like, we're gonna launch it in an hour. Like, what? I'm not ready. And he's like, just do this. Like, it's fine. Like, yeah, it's gonna get it out there. I'm like, dude, it's not there. He's like, just go, just let it go. But what I explained that whole interaction was like, I was literally like standing in front of the room with my pants down. You're just like
Self-exposed.
oh yeah, because you got a product, it's your baby. Like,
Yeah.
it came from my mind. I put it on paper, and now I have a tangible product that's here. And so every part of it it's something that I've built, something that I've done. So then, you have people starting to talk about it. It's like they're trying to poke holes in it, and you're proud of it. It's your child.
Yeah.
So it's like it is a different feeling. It's from a different perspective, and it makes you feel very vulnerable.
I know the feeling. Yeah, it is, because every critique is not intended at you, but it does hit you a little bit.
Yeah, it's like you just want to slap him. I'm gonna come slap you. What'd you say about my baby? And you do. You're like, stop talking about it. But no, that's a whole different perspective and a different way of like something that you can't prepare yourself for.
Yeah. Well, especially in that way. That's crazy.
Oh yeah, it completely like threw me.
Shark Tank style. That's
Yeah.
so funny.
He told me right before he started filming, he's like, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna sit over here, you're gonna stand there, and we're gonna talk about it. And they had never seen the product. So they'd never actually even seen it, because I went up and put it on the roof before, and they were inside doing a different podcast. So whenever they come out, they're asking me questions on something that they've just got a brief description on.
Yeah.
I just told Dimitri, hey, this is what it is. This is how it is used. But I didn't have any videos of it. He didn't know what it looked like. And so they were asking me questions without even knowing what they're talking about.
Yeah.
So I'm like, so they're asking questions that don't really pertain to it, but it's like, it still is valid question on how this works and what it does. So I'm saying, God, what? So it was fun, but it really caught me off guard. But it was.
Hey, I bet it made some good content. I mean, that's what Dimitri does, right?
He got me here. I mean, it really did. So
Yeah.
it's been good.
Awesome. Well, keep going, man. It's awesome. I mean, I got to see the product. Like I said, we're going to link to a demo video of you rolling it out and filling it up on the roof. But definitely, I think there's a lot of promise. And obviously, when you just have that drive, I mean, you've already been successful in another venture. So I've got a lot of faith.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to let it go.
Yeah.
I mean, will it be perfect right now? No, but I'll get there.
Yeah.
So it's work in progress.
Yeah, 100%. It always is. Every product, every service, even too. I mean, roofing is the same. Like, you can always be doing it better. You can always improve your process. You can always improve your customer experience. There's always been products, that might, deliver better results, better durability, better aesthetic. So kind of just goes back to always being innovative and pushing the ball forward.
Diving in head first.
Diving in head first.
Yeah, it's 100%. It's a ongoing thing, but I'm ready for the ride.
Well, excited to see where it goes. Kalen, I want to thank you again. I know you were in Chicago, beautiful city. And I was like, hey, I'm like an hour and a half out west in the middle of nowhere, and you popped right over. So I appreciate you carving out time to come by, share a little about your story, about HurriTarp, and just to meet in person too. So it was nice.
Yeah, nice meeting you too.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Sir.